All right, everybody, welcome back to my channel, Texas Flash Cove Installer. We're not doing Flash Cove today, but we are utilizing a technique that's utilized in an installation with complicated installs. And what we're using in here today is 12-foot goods. So we're putting what's called roto vinyls in here, which is residential goods. 12-foot goods also come in commercial, so does 16, but we're focusing on residential 12-foot roto vinyls in here today. It's Armstrong product going in. So we got a 12-foot width. All the grain's gonna be running one direction right here. We gotta make sure the grain runs the same direction out of the bathroom over in here. We're not gonna be pattern scribing over in the bathroom because there's no need to. Usually when you do pattern scribing, so there'll be a long run here that's, 25 feet long, and you got to hold it up in the air and wrap it around and relief cut it. Come back around here, somebody's got to hold it up into the air right here, and you got to relief cut it, and you can't cut it too much. So what you do is you pattern this. And so I'm gonna set the phone down. You're gonna see what I do. I'll explain what I'm doing as I'm actually putting this pattern down on the floor here, and you'll be able to observe what I'm doing as I'm talking. What we're using today for our pattern paper, because there's a shortage of the rosin paper that I normally use, which you can purchase at Home Depot or Lowe's or any hardware store. It's basically a piece of paper that goes underneath your hardwood floors and forms a little moisture barrier. It's about $9 for more than enough to do a job. And so what I've opted for is the number 15. It's a little bit more lightweight, not as heavy duty roofing felt to do my patterning with. So what you want to do is while I'm down on the floor, I'll explain to you, you want to open your roll up, of course, and you want to start at a wall, and you want to cut this length to go from wall to wall, but you do not want to damage the edges of it. So don't go throwing your roll of tar paper around, or roof felt rather, because you'll damage your edges, and you actually need to line your edges up with your next piece of material. You want to be careful not to hit the walls, because this is an oil-based product, and it will leave stains. You do not want to use this on carpet or any type of surface that you may be doing a full perimeter bond on, or full spread on. This is a perimeter bond flooring. This is Interflex. So I'm not too concerned about it. Armstrong makes really good adhesives. It's all cleaned up. So once you're at the end of this wall down here, what you want to do is you want to cut this as straight as you can, right there. Stand your roll up real easy. Don't damage your edges on your roll, okay? And you'll take this in because of the curl, and you run it back down to this side of the house, toss it in, and just slide this out. You want to make sure it's evenly distributed. Now we're going to trim some away along the walls. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our gauge that we're using, which, I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Our gauge that we're using for this Alright, I got my straight edge. This is the gauge we're going to be using. There's also another tool that's used in this process, and it's a pair of dividers. You can see how my leg is bent out on it. See how I heated up and bent it? It's so I can get into those spaces. And what we'll do is we'll use this as a gauge, because we need to get in spots where we're needed. We'll be able to put this in underneath the dishwasher, underneath some cabinets. And so what you do is you line that up perfectly with your gauge. And there you go. You want to lock that down. You periodically want to check this because this does slip. You can also take on your paper here, and just in case you get lost, what you can do is you can put your gauge down on the floor. You can scribe one side, scribe the other side, move it out of the way, match it up. You see I'm a little bit off right there, so I want to fix that. Get that as pretty as I can. Keep your tolerances nice and tight. Of course, you don't want to make them too tight because some vinyls do not like being net cut because it shrinks and expands. It's the natural properties of any type of vinyl flooring. So what I've done over here is I got my paper up against the wall, and I'm real satisfied with that. I'm gonna pull it back here because you want to make sure your distance is no greater than that, but you've got to transfer over too. So you want to make sure that you're not adding too much at the same time, because you can transfer it over, but it becomes a pain transferring over to the vinyl. So I'm gonna put this on the ground now, and I'm gonna continue to show you what to do with this right here. So let me get you where you can see right here. I hope everybody enjoys these videos. I do take out my time of my day to show some people some new techniques. And so let me get you jacked up back in there. I want you to be able to see this. So there we go. There we go. That's nice right there. Now you can see the whole thing. I got it tilted down. Hopefully the phone doesn't fall. We're going to take our straight edge now. And one thing we're going to do is we want to make sure we're cut away from the walls, but you don't want to cut away from the wall greater than this right here, this 2 inches. So we're just going to turn down the wall right here. I'm going to turn down this wall back over here. That's all we're doing. We're going to cut a little bit out right here, just a little bit too close. You got to transfer it back. And right here. Now these door jambs. Just cut down a little bit away from the door jambs where it's not so close. What we do now is we take and we want to anchor this down so it doesn't move, because we're doing precision scribing on here. So you want to take, you want to cut a bead out. There's some place where you can put some tape to take it out from the floor. Not too many of them, just a few of them. And what you'll do is you'll put this throughout the entire area of the area which you're intending on installing your new sheet on. Now what you'll do once you have this piece in, you want to go and secure it. Okay. Personally, I like using duct tape. It sticks a little lot better. It's a little bit more expensive, but it does a heck of a lot better job. Hold your head. You want to be sure to pull it back and stretch it out. Get any rises in it out. So normally I'd be pushing this way. I want you to see what I'm doing. Yes, flat. Pull it back. So that piece is secured right there now. This piece is secured. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our roll of vinyl again, and we're going to, or not vinyl, rather, our roof fill. We're going to put another piece in. Now we have 6 feet. We're working with 12-foot goods. So we need to install 12 feet wide of this material. We're going off this wall, okay? So we know from one wall to the other is 10 foot, but it's going to go back over into a little patio over an area right there. So we'll cover up this whole area with powder coat. I'm going to show you how I join this, and then I'm going to pause the video and get all this done and get it in, and then I'm going to show you how to scribe it, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that roll of roof felt, we're going to roll it out again. Now it's going to wrap around this wall right here. It's going to wrap around this wall. Let's go back into the kitchen. Now, you don't have to do that. And I'll show you what you're going to do, okay? Okay, you see how it wraps around. You simply just cut it off, put another piece on, make sure it's straight edge, on straight edge to straight edge, and move it around. We'll insert this next piece. That's always a guide for that fill. And then it'll go into the kitchen, and it'll continue all that walk to that wall right there. However, we're going to have a fill because this wall is not as deep as this wall. So we'll have a fill from right here back, okay? So what we're doing is we're eliminating head seams, all right? We're utilizing this whole roll through here. We're gonna have one seam at 10, 11, 12 right here. So there'll be a seam right here, and there'll be a seam back there, and that's it. And sometimes people come in and they'll just cut it off, and they'll put a piece, and they'll put a piece, And that's kind of spinning your wheels. This is the proper industrial standard. This is the way to do it, to actually install the vinyl. So I'm gonna get this in, I'm gonna butt this edge right. First thing I'm doing, I'm gonna cut this. Let me show you again. I'm gonna cut this right here. This stuff costs 18 bucks. So you need to figure that out the cost. I mean, if you're gonna do this as a career and you're doing it right, there's no reason why you can't do it right, all right? And if they don't want to pay the money to do it right, you don't want to work for them. Because your name is on this. You're doing an outstanding job, okay? Rolling it back over so the curl goes down to the ground. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take it, and I'm gonna butt it up against that seam right there, really nice and net, okay, all the way down. I'm gonna pull this back down here, of course. I'm gonna cut it away from the wall, no greater than 2 inches. Actually, that looks great right there. But I'm gonna butt that seam, and I'm gonna come back and tape the seam. And I'm gonna relief cut this right here. This is called a relief cut. And so I can see where I need to go right here. So yes, I'm doing this one-handed. Did I mention that I'm a career installer? So real gentle, cut it that way. Cut it that way. And I can see where it's gonna land right here, so I can pretty much eyeball it. Yes, sir. And then I'll cut away my excess. You wanna be careful not to cut through it all the way, just ride the top of it. Right the top of it. See when I went through it. So then you lay it there. Bring this back around here. Turn this down. Now what you're gonna do, the same thing. You're gonna go back. You're gonna take this stuff. You're gonna get you set again. After you get this seam nice and tight right here. And there's another trick I need to show you. It's called placing key marks. And you want your key marks in case the tape comes apart, so you know where it went. The first one we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do these little tags right here where it holds it down so it doesn't move and shift on you. Now, mind you, what this does is when you go and you put this on top of the material, you don't have to cut anything. All the writing is perfect. Cutting your labor down. It might seem labor intensive, but it's not. And again, this is industrial standard. So industrial standard can't be wrong. So you're going to take your tape again. And I'm going to show you from behind. So you can push this way, but you can keep an eye on your seam to make sure everything stays nice and tight. Keep weight on it. You don't need a whole lot of tape. Nice and tight. And you'll continue this with another piece, and so on and so forth until you reach your 12-foot width. And I'll have a video too to show you how I transfer it over. So I'm going to finish all this up right here, and then I'll walk you through it, and we'll get to the next video doing the actual scribing. See you on the next vid. Don't forget to push like and subscribe and share.